respond to him.
We have a quorum established. I'll call the meeting to order, and we will progress as follows. The agenda is presented, and then under new business, Mrs. Salter will give a report on our discussion with Mr. Sidney Evans at the Methodist Church, and there's no voting involved. This is just simply a report. Roman numeral number 2, the minutes of the December 6th regular meeting were presented online. I assume you read those. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
I make a motion to accept the minutes.
Ms. Salter has moved to accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
Dr. Owens has seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Roman numeral number 3, old business. I am not aware of any old business. Ms. Rock, do you have any old business?
No, ma'am, not at this time.
All right, thank you. Roman numeral number 4, our first new business item, 10301, Dean Lemoyne, 225 Williams Avenue fence. Hi. Would you please go up to the podium? You want to tell us what's your application for tonight, please? I know there's several of them in your files.
I do. I've got a couple that are in the works. A little over a year ago, I came through you guys to get a garage plan approved. That's finally moving forward now. There have been a couple of revisions to that I'd like to go over with y'all.
Sure.
It's really just, it's going to be about 10 feet shallower than it was before and about 3 feet narrower. For building purposes, the contractor felt it would behoove us to trim it down just a little bit for trusses and whatnot. The way it works, all the math works out for that. And difference between 42 feet and 45 feet, they're not really big space-wise, so
Do you have a
that's
copy
okay.
of the information? The commissioners are looking, but there's some other
That wouldn't be
drawings
in
in
here.
here.
That was from.
Yeah, that information is
That
not
was what
submitted
was-
with this application. That's
Okay.
what he's saying he wants to do.
Okay, all right.
I did submit all of those plans to planning and zoning for permits just 2 weeks ago.
And everybody's clear on the fact that this is the Keegan house?
And then the applications that I actually have in the works for tonight are a fence project that, do you guys all have that information? Okay. I submitted a drawing of what the fence will look like. There's there are a set of brick columns that go around the perimeter of the yard, and there's a wood fence made between those brick columns, and I want to replace the wooden fence portion. I've hired a foundation company to come in and erect straighten up the columns. 9 of them were leaning and near toppling over, so we've straightened them up, shored them up, and they're good to build in between now. So I also submitted I was able to purchase the piece of property behind us that's on Scarborough, and we put a fence there, and I would like to make the fence look the same. So it will look just like this. It's a metal structure now rather than a wooden structure, and it has wooden fence boards that go across. So this is the fence that will be built between those columns. And you've got the drawing from Murphy Metal that kind of shows a rendition of that. We'll keep the existing columns. It has capitals on top of the columns. We're going to clean those up and make them as presentable as we can. It'll have one post between the panel, between the 2 columns, and all the structure is metal, but the boards are wood, vertical.
I think it looks
If you have
very nice.
Any questions on
Looks
that?
really nice.
Did you ever see any photographs of, or see the playhouse that was up in that corner?
I've heard about it, but I've never seen any pictures of it.
There might be, in fact, I believe
Probably
that
some on the
there-
inventory.
Pardon?
I received the
Probably some on
inventory.
inventory.
Yeah,
I received the inventory from planning and zoning, but I didn't see anything about the
Oh, I'm
playhouse.
surprised.
I am too. They may have it up in the, at the university. That'd be a good thing.
Perhaps.
But it was like a playhouse that had those steps that went up to it, and shutters and a door.
It was real cute, yeah.
Visit the archives.
So I
Yeah.
take it was in the same likeness as the house? Was it kind of like a copy
It
of the
was
house?
Somewhat,
white wooden.
And I think it had some smaller columns in the front, too, best I can remember.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the application as is.
I have a question before we vote.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion?
Now, can I ask a
Yes,
question?
ma'am.
Okay.
Well, we couldn't leave the motion hanging.
But what about the fence between your property and the Opus house?
Well, after the garage is complete, I would like to do the same fence to connect to the Opus House fence. We've recently cleaned the fence lines up. There was 15 to 20 feet of just overgrown vines and trash trees and all kinds of stuff in there that we cleaned out. And now you can actually see the side of that house. It's a beautiful, the back part of the Opus House is beautiful. No one's ever seen it. But,
I was there the day when the tree fell across the fence.
yes, how about that? That was awesome.
And I just wondered, if anything had been done since that, or if your plans were to continue the same style of fence in
Well,
that
I would
area.
need to, if we do anything there, I would need to get with them and see what they want to do. How much privacy do they want to have? They had a lot of privacy before that
They
I've
did.
taken out. So we may do some sort of bush or shrub or something that would give them some privacy. As far as a fence, that fence is theirs, it's not mine.
I think was that a wrought iron fence?
It's a hurricane fence.
Hurricane fence,
Is
yeah,
the,
okay.
the body of it, but when you get up to the front, they have some brick columns with a little bit of wrought iron and a gate. So, I haven't had a discussion with
With Jen.
Mark and Jen about it, so, but I'm sure we'll broach that subject later on when I catch up with a few of these other projects.
Well, the property really looks quite different now since all the trees are down and
Hope to the better. We had some pecan trees that had big issues. The garage needed some space, so the best pecan tree had to come out, but the other two were falling apart. So we went ahead and took those two out, and 3 dead pine trees that were in the front portion of the property as well, and in danger of falling in the road. So we went ahead and took all of that out at the same time.
All right, Commissioners, are you straight on what the application is for? We have a motion on the floor, all in favor? Any opposition? Okay.
Chairman, I have a question, though.
Yes, ma'am.
With the changes that he's going to make with the garage, will he need to come before you guys again, or could we just permit and not have to do another
It's the same-
application?
It's the same style, it's
Nothing's
everything-
changed except for what he was,
Same
Correct.
doors.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the columns between each of the garage doors. The doors are like a carriage-style looking door. All of that's the same. It's just a little, 10 feet shallower and 3 feet narrower.
Commissioners?
That's fine with me.
that's fine with me.
All right, let's put that in the form of a motion. Dr. Owens?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposition? Just make note of that in the file, so we have it. Okay? All right, any other comments or concerns? All righty. Thank you very much. That's such a wonderful home.
The other application that I had in with you guys, do y'all have any other information from what I
I didn't
sent on?
understand you, I'm sorry.
On December 13th, the email that I had sent you with, to do renovations to the outside of the house, replace rotten wood and siding
That's
and
what-
columns.
Is that in the form of an application tonight?
no,
I'm-
they wanted to
I know that we
replace.
spoke, but I thought, from what you said, I thought that that was something that was going to be postponed. That's not correct?
Well, I think I misunderstood what he was asking. I was thinking that we were going to address the fence tonight, but he's telling me now, he's saying that
Right.
it should have been for tonight. But he's going to replace all the wood, rotten woods around the house. I was thinking it was going to be a separate application, so that's my
It was.
mistake. To
Okay.
be presented for tonight?
All right.
Just replacing rotted, is it just replacing rotted boards and painting the same color?
Same colors.
Yeah.
What is the
The
material,
columns will
though?
have to be replaced, they're rotten, but it's going to be the same 14-inch Tuscan tapered column, 11 feet tall, non-fluted, exactly what's there. I'm not
All
trying
right,
to change
and
anything.
what is the composition of what you're putting on the house?
The wood material that I'd like to use would be the smart siding, the smooth version, not the textured, but the smooth smart siding.
Do you have a
Which is a wood-
sample of that, or do we
I
have?
can get you a sample of it.
I do have some in my truck if
You
I need to
have
go
the-
get it. It's the same stuff that's on Donahoe Law Firm, if you're familiar with that. I know that's a
Mm-hmm.
recent project y'all had. That's the material. It looks like
Clapboard.
a piece of wood. It's a lap siding, and it comes in an 8-inch board, and you can lap as much as you'd like, but I'll keep the same reveal that the house currently has. I think it's around 6 inches. So I can do that very easily, and use that same material, and it'll last 40 years instead of 7 or 8, you know. It's gonna cost about $40,000 to scrape and paint this every 7 years, so I'd like to do something with a more updated material that still has the same look and
Okay.
same,
All right,
same
what we'll
style.
do is amend the agenda to include Mr. Dean's work on the house, the siding. Is there a motion to amend the agenda to include?
I move that we
yeah?
amend the agenda to
Doctor-
include that.
Dr. Crosno has moved to amend the agenda. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Dr. Owens has seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? All right, so this
brought-
would be application, this would be 01,
Addition.
03, 01 still.
I brought a copy of that application if you guys
Okay.
want to see it or make copies of it.
Now,
Does it have the
I'm
material?
sorry about the confusion.
Yeah,
um,
that was on us.
do I understand you to say that you're replacing all the siding on the house and
I think
also the columns?
that's what it's going to end up being, is a total replacement eventually. There's a couple different styles from between all the different renovations and additions and subtractions and whatever else has gone on over the years. I'd like to make it more uniform and more continuous. At one point, when the double windows were taken out from the gable and the demi-lune window was put in, there's some really bad repairs that were done there. And a different style of siding was used, and it's just, I'd like to clean up a lot of that stuff and make it all look more continuous.
So basically, it's the siding and the columns, but
Right.
not replacing windows?
Well, the windows, I'm going to restore them best I can. I'm keeping the original wood windows, as much of the glass, the wavy glass as I can. Currently, the demi-lune window that was above the gable, it had rotted, and I found it in the garden shed when we moved in. I've had it restored and rebuilt with a more durable material, African cedar. It's supposed to last much longer. And so I'm trying to source glass for that right now. It currently has a piece of plexiglass in it since it was taken out.
Is
before.
everybody clear on where that is? It's above that gable, and Frank
Yeah.
Frank Douglas, I believe,
Frank
put it
did that.
in.
I mean, it had been covered up. He uncovered it, and then he covered it up, I guess, with plexiglass, I'm not sure.
Okay. So, anyway, I've had that window restored, so in the process of doing the siding, I intend to put that window back in. So I threw that into the application as well, for you guys to see that. I don't want to surprise anyone with anything. I'm trying to get the house back to what it should be, what I think it should be, based on the little pieces that I've discovered here and there. And the window is, I don't know, possibly something that they had approved through you guys once already. I don't know. When they went from the double windows to the demi-lune window, did that come through you guys in the form of an
We'd
application?
have to look back in the file. That would have been probably, oh gosh, that may
I
have
think we
been.
did. I think I remember me,
Frank,
but of
I
course.
think Frank Douglas did it, from what I
Okay.
understand,
Need to
but
double check on
All
that.
right, well,
In any case.
what I'm looking at is your scope of work that you presented to replace the rotted and damaged lap siding, repair, restore, reglaze windows, replace rotted and damaged columns on the front porch, which you talked to us about, replacing the window and the gable over the front porch, which you just told us about, to prime and paint the house using the same color scheme, white body of house and trim, black exterior, entry doors, shutters, and railings, atmospheric blue ceiling on front porch. Only change we are considering would be to replace the existing gutters with copper. This would be a slight alteration to the look of the house, but one that is in keeping with the style and age of the structure. So Commissioners, that would be presented as a formal application tonight since we amended the agenda. Questions, concerns? All right.
You've done your research, and it, I think, sounds nice. I
Thank you.
understand what you want to do.
Okay.
I
All
make a
right.
motion to approve the amended agenda. I mean, the amended motion.
Mhm.
Is that right? Yeah.
What was your I didn't hear what you said.
I make a motion to approve the amended application.
Yes.
Too many
Is there a
A's.
second?
I'll say.
Dr. Owens has seconded, I'm sorry. Ms. Salter has moved. Dr. Owens has seconded. Any further discussion, concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, you're good to go.
thank you all.
You're going to be busy for quite a while.
You sure are. But that's such a lovely
It's a
place.
full-time job.
Okay, thank you. Agenda item, under new business, Mr. Frank Taylor, paint renovation, and this is at 944 and 946 Washington. It's the house that's on the corner of Washington and Texas. Texas, I was going to say Williams, of Texas. And Mr. Taylor, would you go up to the podium and tell us what, or both of you if you would like? Sure.
So, this goes in the pictures. We have a red door we'd like to put there, get rid of the brown look there, kind of upgraded. We seen a picture that's in one of them. It was like a red door, white columns, also with black shutters surrounding it.
This one right here.
Yeah. We want to kind of bring it up to that look, being on Front Street, Nagas Historic District, we want to kind of make it look a lot better there than what's existing. So,
Is that for both doors?
yes, ma'am, both doors. Also, they got metal railings in the front, on the side of each door. That's where we want to put the columns. If you walk up the steps to the far left and far right, we want to put some white columns there. We also got that idea when we was driving down Front Street. We seen a lot of houses have those columns on. They're like, well, that definitely make it look a lot better. And around the windows, we want to put black shutters around the windows as well. Now, and we want to ask to see if we could change out the windows and put, more of a newer look of window, if we could.
Have you, was he given a copy of the inventory of the property?
I don't think we gave them an inventory of the
Okay.
property.
Every property in the historic district is cataloged, and that gives you a summary of the importance of the structure, of the structures in the district. But
Okay.
this is a structure that's contributing which means it's important in the district. 944 Washington Street is a one-story frame cottage with a jerkin head, Jerkinhead roof, and projected gable porch with modern iron supporters. The supporters were added. The original three-bay facade consisted of a doorway with side lights flanked by a triple unit window. The southernmost triple window unit has been altered for an additional door and single window as part of an apartment renovation. The house is circa 1935, so it was built sometime in the 30s.
Oh, wow.
So it's an important structure.
Okay.
So now you're a steward of an important structure in the
Okay.
district.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Thank you.
And let's get a copy of this to him too, please.
Okay.
Okay. Ms. Salter?
Yeah, I visited with them before the meeting a little bit, and I've come up with a couple ideas.
Okay, great.
And one thing that you did not mention that you had told me, you also wanted to paint the steps
Yes.
leading up to the house to look like the brick steps that are in this
Yes, ma'am.
photograph.
Definitely.
This is their inspiration, which I think is a fabulous upgrade over what is there now. And I really commend you all for wanting to make it look great, because it is a kind of entrance into the district. And
Yes,
it's a
ma'am.
very good focal point.
Yes.
And I know that you had submitted possibly using these brown colors as another,
Yeah, maybe.
they really don't work. But if
Okay.
you're really wanting to do a little accent around the windows in addition to your black shutters,
Yes, ma'am.
I've come up with a really nice, softer gray color.
Okay, okay.
It'll be just enough to pop those out from the white
Yes.
body if you're not going to change the body.
No,
Okay, if you're going to leave it white,
I'm gonna leave it white.
then what it'll do, it'll pop those little wood, I guess it's the wood molding around the
Yes,
windows.
yep.
Then you'll have your black shutters and then your red door. And then the side lights that are there around that one door that
Yeah.
are still there, you would go into the gray color on that. And so
Okay.
that will accent those a little bit. You see what I'm talking about?
Yes, definitely, I can
It's just the
envision that
door
now.
that's on the right side
Okay,
facing,
Okay,
that you would paint them that color. And the
Okay.
black shutters, but then you'll basically have this look, but
Yes, ma'am.
because it's an older structure, you can accent that wood tone
Yes,
a
ma'am.
little bit. Now, where you were wanting to paint around the corners of the house and all that,
no, gotcha.
that's a no-go, yeah.
Gotcha.
They didn't do that back then.
Okay.
Like that, just leave that like that.
Okay.
And you'll have enough by the time you do the red steps, the red doors, the accent of your
Yeah.
gray and your black shutters. It'd
Okay.
be very, very nice.
Okay,
Ms. Salter,
sounds
would you
good.
share that with Dr. Horton and Dr. Crosner?
Yes, you can pass this down.
While we're waiting on her to do that, what about the wrought iron, I guess you call them supports or columns there at the corner of the porch?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you include, are you going to keep those?
No,
Those
ma'am,
were
I'm
to do
changing those out. I want to put columns there.
Oh, so the columns you spoke of earlier,
Yes, ma'am.
It's
beside
removing
the door,
metal.
is not going to be beside the door, but they're
No,
going to be
ma'am.
there?
Yes, ma'am, right.
Oh,
we're
I
gonna be-
understand now.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
And those would be painted white.
White, yes,
To
ma'am.
match the body of the house.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
And the important architectural details in that house are those windows.
Put it
the
down so I can
jerkin
see
head
it. Oh,
windows, trim,
I could just
the
see
way
it
that
back
they're
in your hand.
indented and
You can't change the triple window that's there,
Okay.
because that's the original window.
Okay, that's
And
fine.
someone has already altered the other side that was a mate to that. They had to have accurate egress into that second apartment.
Yes, ma'am.
That's why that is no longer there.
Okay.
So what to you makes it look old and stuff like that
Yeah.
is what makes it a treasure,
Of the community.
because
Yes,
we
ma'am.
just don't have those anymore.
Yes, ma'am. I
So
understand.
Yeah.
we prefer that that is totally left alone.
I'll leave
Now,
that
sometimes when you get on the back of the house or the sides that aren't seen that much, if you have to change a window out, that's a different story. But we really try to leave the front as true to the original that we can.
I understand. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Sounds good.
The edge of the window, the
you
window
want to ask
facing.
him about
Virginia,
I'm just
the
worried
colors
about,
okay?
colors are fine, but I'm worried about a shutter, if he's gonna put a shutter on those three windows that you see there
Yeah, that
to
was,
the right.
yeah, that one was gonna be hard.
The one that you put
Yeah, that's
next
the
to
one
the
I
window
really
that's closest to the door.
It won't be proportional, but
I'm not sure it's going to be enough room
Yeah,
there,
that
but
would
What
maybe
you
one-
could do, you could just put the shutters on the left window.
Okay,
You don't, just so you have, both of them don't have to have it because if there's not that much room on either side. You can still do it over here and it'd be appropriate. Because this is a single window versus your triple window. So as far as when he gets through, the size of the windows will actually be more in proportion to one another. You see what I'm saying, Virginia? What do you think?
Yes, ma'am.
And what do you
I don't
think?
think they need shutters at all, really. I mean, it would be a nice addition if you had the space, but
yeah, so.
once
what
you
would
get them
y'all
up there, you may
suggest?
decide you like them or you don't like them, but I just don't think you're gonna,
Yeah,
and you're
what
gonna have it.
You could go ahead and paint like we have talked about and get your columns up and do all of that.
Okay,
But
Still
go ahead and get our
nice.
approval for the shutter if you want to do it.
okay,
And then see, get everything else painted and then see what you think.
okay,
And then visualize. You could even cut out a piece of construction board and paint it black and stick it up
Stick it
there.
up there, see
To see what you
Yeah,
think,
okay,
to get it to really light. But
yes, ma'am,
And visually, that would probably help you just to
let's see.
get everything done and then determine what you prefer to do as far as the shutter.
Do you plan to make any changes on the landscaping around the house to improve the look of it?
I want to do some flowers,
Because
a
you
guy-
have a shrubbery of something there to the left. that-
Yeah, it's kind of old, it look like it's dying.
that needs to come out, yeah. Just
Yeah, I really want to pull
start
that
that
out.
out.
Yeah.
A guy I met, I think his name was Tim from the city.
Oh,
Oh,
Tim
yeah.
Ferguson.
Yeah,
Tim.
he suggested some, I think I sent it to her, it was some kind of, flowers, he suggested put it up there, to say it'll make it look better.
Yeah. Well, it's not under the purview of this commission, but I just thought I'd ask.
Yeah, okay, well, yeah, that's what I want to do.
Because you have a nice little accent there at the corner that the city
Yeah.
I
provides.
love it, that's so beautiful.
Yeah, and that's, when you redo this house, it's really gonna pop out of there now.
Yes,
You'll really be able, it'll be a nice, and redo a little bit of that landscaping, it'll be very
You may
nice.
decide you want a pink door instead of a red door.
All right,
Right.
okay. Do we know where we stand? Ms. Salter, you want to summarize?
I need that paint color,
Oh,
or we can make the adjustments here and then get it, file it with Chantrell, the exact colors.
Okay,
sure. In fact, maybe you can make some color, can you make some color copiers on the copy and put those in the file?
It's basically the colors that are on here, but instead of the brown accents, it's Sherwin-Williams, gray clouds.
Is there a number on that?
I was getting ready to get it to you, 7658.
7658, okay.
That's really nice, I like it with the black. Ooh.
Okay.
so are we gonna be able to, you said black, put, one shirt on one window, or?
I'll show you,
Okay, all right,
I'll show you.
And in fact, if you need some assistance, Ms. Salter, I'll get Ms. Salter and Dr. Owens to give you some suggestions, okay?
yes, that would be great.
But
We're
just as long
we're the
as,
field crew.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're the field crew.
You know, that's the entrance and the focus point of the community coming in that way. We wanted to look really nice. So,
Well, I'm so glad you were able to acquire that property.
we
All
thank
right, commissioners, is there a motion to approve the application with the amendments presented tonight?
I so move
I'll
that we
second.
approve the application.
Okay. Mrs. Salter has moved to approve the application with the amendments. Dr. Horton has seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposition? Okay, very good. Thank you and good
Yes,
luck.
ma'am.
And yeah,
Thank
we'll
y'all so
probably
much.
be seeing you some more.
Yes, ma'am, you will. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, let's see. Commissioners,
Yeah. If you'll stay,
other new
then I'll
business.
talk to you afterwards. Okay.
We'll just be a few minutes. Commissioners, under new business, under other new business, Ms. Salter's going to give you a quick summary of our visit with Mr. Sidney Evans and the pastor at First Methodist Church. while we were there, we discussed the columbarium. That was the main purpose of the on-site visit. I wanted everyone to see also this letter from Luke Frederick, which is part of public record, dated September 5th, 2018. So I have a copy of that for you so that you're aware. I think the commissioners that were here at that time, Dr. Owen, are familiar with it. This is Luke's letter. And so I think we had a very productive meeting. This does not have anything to do with the columbarium. So you want to address
Okay.
the columbarium first, and this
Okay.
is for informational purposes as far as that letter.
I believe it was on December the 15th. Ms. Kagan and I met with Sonny Evans at the church. And of course, our big concern about the columbarium was where they wanted to put it on their property. And if you are driving in the parking lot of the Methodist Church and you turn left to go behind Ethel Robo's house, they wanted to put it in the backyard there. And Sonny had basically kind of partitioned off a little area to show where it was. Well, after we had our visit and started talking and all, we decided to push it further over. And if you look at the... Okay, I'm getting ready to tell you. If you're looking at Mrs. Robo's house, to her left was her driveway, which no longer exists. But that was the driveway which went back to the garage that has been demolished.
So it's the northeast corner of the property.
Correct, northeast corner. And it would push it over behind there, and I looked tonight when I drove here, as you're driving down 2nd Street, you would not be able to see it. It would bump up to where Sean Daly's property is, and there's some tall trees and bushes there that separate the two pieces of property. And it would sit right back to where the parking lot begins, and so it would come in, I think maybe 20 feet, something like that. But what we had talked about with Sonny was being able to even partition that more with greenery, instead of building a fence, to make it a green space. And Mr. Evans was going to get with his son-in-law, I guess one of them must be in the, not son-in-law, grandson-in-law, must do
He's either a
landscaper or something. And so he was going, we had thought about trying to do some sort of either brick pavers or rock pavers or something as a base. You would have 2 columbariums, which are rectangular in size. Let me show it to you. We were going to angle them. And then this is a little bench. They would be kind of at a diagonal to each other. All of this would be trees and shrubbery. You know, when you drive down before you get into, not Plantation Point, Starlight Point, those kind of it's an evergreen, and it's really not a holly tree, but it's something similar to that, a bush that would probably grow maybe 15, 20 feet tall that would surround this area. And then all of this would either be brick or stone or something, and maybe with an iron bench if someone wanted to go there and visit their individual. And so it would be kind of private, and it's set back in that back corner. So if Mrs. Robo's house was ever sold, whoever bought that property, this would not interfere with that, because Mr. Evans is going to go to the Planning and Zoning Commission and have this little area petitioned off of the property that would be a separate property from Mrs. Robo's. So if the house was ever sold, it would not involve this little piece of property, but it would be solely encased by greenery, and it would be just kind of like a private garden area back there.
Like a prayer garden.
Yeah, like a prayer garden.
Where the 2 of them are angled in the center. of
Center, we
that,
had talked about doing a cross, a beautiful
an
cross or
angel
something.
Or something as far as a religious.
But we asked Mr. Evans to get with his grandson-in-law to get that drawn first before he ever came before us with the design concept. And then he would have to go get it, if we approve it, then he has to go get it approved by the planning and zoning, or vice versa, whatever he wants to do first. But that's kind of where we left it. I thought it was a very positive meeting. The preacher came at about the last 10 minutes of the meeting, and he agreed that it needed to be moved over to that site. So we all were in agreement with that, and so was Mr. Evans. He didn't have any problems with that. So I thought it was a very nice, nice idea, and
It
I was
pretty.
I was
Kind of
okay
a-
with it.
a dimensional, what are the dimensions of each of those two structures that
If
you-
I remember, weren't they 10 feet long?
He had, what he initially said was something like 20 to 40 feet. So I think he gave up on that when we brought some photographs, some pictures. But I thought it was around 10 feet for each one.
10 by 4, something like that, for each one?
They just had not gotten it all together.
And I
That's
think
why.
they would be 20 compartments each. And there's people in the church who have already expressed interest wanting to be buried there. And so this was kind of the beginnings of that. So
And-
that's kind of where we left it.
It was, like she said, it was productive, so that, and it was positive.
Very, very positive. For
Um,
Sonny, that was,
Yeah,
I thought it was very great. He was very gracious and receptive to our ideas, too, is what I thought. You know,
so,
because they were different from what he had originally planned.
he's pursuing getting some of
Yes,
this
supposed,
information.
yeah. Mhm.
Keep this in your file, please. Like I said, it's public record, but they will probably come before us on February the 7th. And you just need to be aware of, or think about what has been discussed before and what was discussed initially for the protection of the house. And Dr. Horton, what did you tell me as far as the time frame that the
The house
house?
is older than my house, and my house is
Yeah.
1892, so I'm imagining that house is about 10 years older than mine.
Okay, so that's something that we'll have to consider.
Well, currently, what's been, is it
Nothing.
just empty and not?
Well-
It's pure, the house is pure, I mean, I don't think anything has been done to it in 50 years, but I mean, down to the, like my house, the hardware and all is original to the house, the glass is original. Probably one of the remaining houses in the district that's been untouched.
And they even mentioned, I mean, they even said something about maybe the offices again, so, you know, moving them back over there. So it's not a done deal if the church is even going to try to not, you know, demolish it or whatever, but I think they want to keep it. Everybody wants to keep it now, and they want to, I think it'd be great if the church offices moved over there. It'd be
Place
wonderful.
for
Compliment
brides.
a columbarium in the backyard.
But
It would complement a columbarium in the backyard.
That would be perfect.
As opposed to the house selling to somebody else who has a columbarium in their backyard.
Right, but the way it's offset, it's kind of back there by itself. So that kind of helps a little bit, but anyway, that was the report.
Okay, any other new business to come before the commission? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
Move the adjourn.
Dr. Crosstown has moved to adjourn, is there a second?
Second.
Dr. Owens has seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
And so we will get back together on the 7th of February, and if something transpires as far as the property in this house, we'll let everybody know if we have to have something special
Okay.
before their meeting. Okay, great. Everybody have a good holiday?